I'm Priya David, and welcome to Ask It Early. The college school year is right around the corner, but is all that school loan debt really worth it? With me to answer these questions are financial advisor Ray Martin and CBSNews.com's Callie Carlin. Ray, it's amazing the amount of debt undergrads are coming out of college with, a whopping $22,500 on average.
Yeah,
it's a huge loan to burden, to shoulder.
It certainly is. 2/3 of college grads have loans that they have to pay off when they get out of college. And you mentioned the average, $22,500 in student loan debt, but it's not unheard of to hear double or even triple that. And you know, what attributes to that? Well, the rising cost of college is the big culprit here, that as tuition continues to increase here.
Private school can easily cost $40,000 a year.
$40,000, $50,000, $55,000 a year now, and state schools can be a third to half of that. Certainly more economical, but not cheap in any sense. You know, and it always has been thought that, you know, it doesn't matter, just pay whatever you pay for an education. It's your ticket to prosperity in this country. You have to have it to get a good job. You know, certainly the statistics show that those with college degrees earn 85% more lifetime earnings than those with just a high school diploma. So it does make sense to get a college degree, but it doesn't make sense to get into debt up to your eyeballs, paying off loans in your 40s or 50s, or when you're still 40 years old.
You know, I think a lot of times it can be hard to gauge how much debt it's worth taking on. You know, when you're 18 and you're getting yourself into this debt, it's hard to figure out how much am I going to earn coming down the pike? Will I be able to pay these debts back?
Well, let me help our viewers with that here, okay? First of all, think of a college degree as an investment in your human capital. And anytime you make an investment, you want a return on investment, and you want to be able to, if you have to incur debt on that investment, you want to have a reasonable amount of debt that you can pay off. So here's the formula, okay? The amount of college debt you should incur should be no more than what's equal to your average annual earnings over the 10 years after you graduate. So let me put some numbers to that.
Okay.
Let's say you expect to earn over the next 10 years after you graduate, on average, $50,000 a year. You may get out of college and earn 25, and then 35, and then 40, then 60, then 70, then 80. Add those 10 numbers together, and that's 50, and divide by 10, that's 50,000. That should be, your student debt should be no more than $50,000 then in that example, no more than your average annual earnings on the 10 years you graduate. Why is that? Because the payment on student loans that equal your average annual earnings over a 10-year cycle would be about 13% of your gross pay. If your payments for student loans are more than that, you're never going to be able to pay them off. You're going to be student loan poor here. So that's a great formula right there.
So maybe go to a college counselor and find out how much those jobs are actually going to earn you.
And find out, before you get into debt, how much all of it could add up to before you invest in that education, and find out more economical ways to pay for your education.
Let's head over to Callie now with our web friends, who I'm sure have many questions about this. Callie?
Yeah, Priya, well, first of all, in addition to Ray's excellent formula, there's a website I really like called finaid.org. It offers more than a dozen different calculators really specific to whatever you're trying to do, be it calculating savings for college or calculating your repayment plan. So again, that website is www.finaid.org/calculators. As far as questions, our audience wants to know, if they were recently laid off, is it a good idea to go into more debt to get an advanced degree or higher education? Is that something you'd recommend, Ray?
Yeah. It's such a hard trade-off right now, right? Because it's so hard to find a job,
you know,
and you think maybe if I have a little extra education, I'll be a better catch in the job market.
And a strategy in a recession when jobs are hard to find is hide out in grad school for a while. Right. Let the recession blow over, and then when you get out, you'll be more valuable because you'll have a graduate degree. But if you're struggling to pay and afford your student loans on your undergraduate degree, going to graduate school and dumping more student loans on top of that with the hopes that you'll earn more to be able to pay it all off could be, I couldn't recommend.
I mean, what if you went into law or medicine or something that was perhaps higher paid?
You know, interesting you mentioned that. I read an article about a lawyer who ended up in $300,000 or $400,000 in debt, so much debt he couldn't pay his loans, and because of that he wasn't admitted to the bar because he had defaulted on his student loans so often. So he couldn't even practice law as a result of that. And that's an extreme example here. But it can be okay as long as you think about my formula here. You can afford all the loans when you get out of school on a reasonable salary. Okay, you can't just have student loan payments that are 50% of your gross income, and then you got to live with mom and dad, and then you don't get the job that you were hoping to get at the pay you were hoping to get for a while. You can't default on student loans. They follow you forever. They are not dischargeable by bankruptcy. Your wages can be garnished. Your tax refunds can be taken from you. You can not be admitted to the bar because of things like this, or even get a good job if you default on your loans. So be careful on how much you do take out.
Well, and that's not the only option. Loans are not the only option for keeping college costs down, right?
I'm a personal example of that. I started my college education at a community college, Germanna Community College, a 2-year school. And then I went into the military for a while and went to their education through an engineering school, and then got my 4-year degree, and then moved on to a graduate degree and certifications and everything else, and paid for it every nickel of the way. So there are ways to work through college without getting into debts and loans to do this. It's not necessarily where you start school, it's where you finish. So you can start at a 2-year school, then go to a 4-year college.
And the degree you get from where you finish is the one that matters.
That'll be what matters, but also your performance in school. But you can also have work study programs working through school. You can also apply for grants. You can apply for various scholarships. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of pull it all together. And you know, you also save while you can, and you maybe take some time off and work while you can to get your finances back in order there too.
And there's some great websites out there as well to help with all that. You can email questions to us at askitearly@cbs.com. I'm Priya David with Ray Martin and Callie Carlin. Thanks for watching Ask It Early.